The NBA made us wait today in true NBA fashion, just like they don't ever start a game on time. They couldn't give us the schedule right at 2 p.m. Central like we were thinking we were going to get. Out of the 82 games, how many games do y'all think that the Suns' big three will play together? Will they play more than 55 games?
Together?
Whew,
that one's tough. I mean, they definitely didn't make it last year, that's for sure. This year, not because of health, but I just think there's going to be a lot of resting, especially with the depth that we have. They'll be sure to get them some good rest, especially after last year where they played nothing but 40, 38 minutes a game. KD was just tired by the end of the season. You could just tell. I'm going to say no just because I hope that they get rested throughout the season.
Yeah, I'm just going to try to learn my lesson from last year, man. Why would I be so optimistic, bro? Like,
man, you last year you were like, yeah, man, they're gonna play more than 55. Wrong.
Stupid idiot. I don't know why I thought that.
Let's just talk about this schedule, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to the NBA for giving us a tough beginning of our schedule, period. Like, we're starting in LA. Of course, we get to stay there because we're playing the Clippers. And then 2 days later, we play the Lakers. But then we have our home openers, a back-to-back against the Dallas Mavericks, dude. So even without, even the toughest strength of schedule for the first 2 months, forget about that. Those first 3 games are tough.
Okay, so let's take these first 3 games. Clippers, I love we get 2 games against the Clippers early, right? Perfect.
Yes, sir.
This is a team that's in flux. I'm not saying that they didn't get better. They got better. Not necessarily overall top heavy better because they lost Paul George.
They got some depth, though.
They cleaned up in free agency.
Yes, they did.
Name a player in the chat that you wanted on the Suns. He went to the Clippers. Okay.
Oh,
they
my
got
goodness.
them all.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Chris Dunn, we wanted them. Clippers. Kevin Porter Jr., despite the issues, Clippers. Derrick Jones Jr., we were like, maybe we want him back. Clippers.
So, and then that's fine. But what I'm saying is, this is when I want to play the Clippers. I don't want to play them towards the end of the season when they've figured out how to run with all their new pieces. I want them in that fresh Suns territory like last season where they've got all these new parts and we get to slap them a couple of times while they're figuring out how to run together. We should be the team that already knows how to run together of the two.
Well, should we be? New coach, new coaching staff?
Good point. You're scaring
All
me.
right. So should we? Nah, but I mean, to your point, yes, they are trying to figure that whole thing out. Who is Kawhi going to play? I know I'm making that as a joke. That's a joke, but also honestly, is Kawhi going to play? Somebody tell me, because you never know with him. And then we go to play the Lakers. 2 days later, we get to stay in LA, so there's not really travel issues for the team there. They're just going to stay in LA for three days, be there. Travel won't be an issue. I don't want to sound like that guy, but I'm going to be honest. I'm not that afraid of the Lakers. I'm sorry. LeBron and AD are tough, but I'm just not.
I am very disrespectful towards the Lakers. I hate all their guys, all of them, including Jeannie Buss. And I discount them because of my hatred for them. But I learned last year, early season Lakers, not so bad. They got their legs. LeBron's got his legs. AD's hasn't had several season-ending injuries yet. On top of that, I'm thinking, is it a cup game? Because we all saw how referees were willing to dive on a grenade like Captain America himself to save the Lakers from not winning the tournament. So it's like early season Lakers health plus the referees trying to guide them towards that in-season cup. I am kind of more worried about the Lakers. Like, I should be less worried about the Lakers this year because they're a year older, but I feel like I'm appropriately more worried because I recognize.
To your point, our cup game against the Lakers isn't until the day before Thanksgiving or 2 days before Thanksgiving on that Tuesday. So there's always that. So we might get a little bit lucky later to see, but this early one is not the cup game. I got this one circled. The back-to-back home opener is a back-to-back against the Mavericks, our quote-unquote bitter rival, the Dallas Mavericks. Luka versus Booker, KD versus Kyrie.
It's going to be incredible. Didn't we have to wait until Christmas last year?
We had to wait till played them plenty of times beforehand. But that first game, I believe, was January or sometime. It was a Sunday. I remember that specifically. It was a Sunday afternoon game, and that was a really good game. Like, it came down to the wire. KD pulled through, and we won that one. But to get this game on a back-to-back, NBA, you're really killing us here. And you're really going to waste a good game on a back-to-back.
That's a great point. That's rough. Do you know by chance, are the Mavericks on a second night of a back-to-back? Because that changes things.
Oh, they are going to be on 2 days rest because they only play the Spurs in their opener, and then they play us 2 days after. So we really are getting the stick here on this schedule, bro.
We're way too far away for the season
October,
for my blood to be boiling.
I know, but October
and
November is going to be just a row. I'm just telling you right now. Clippers, Lakers, Mavericks, Lakers, Clippers. We get a little reprieve with the Blazers. Then we go back to playing the Sixers. Heat, Mavericks again. Kings. All right, Jazz in our first cup game, back to the Kings. OKC in our second cup game, back to the Timberwolves. So we get a little reprieve there for the Magic, bro. This is nuts.
They're good now, though. What you're describing is another topic we wanted to bring up about this schedule. The Suns have the toughest schedule through the first officially. This is not us just saying, "Oh, we think it's tough. We think they're screwing us." No. It's the toughest statistically through the first 2 months of the season. Now, I'm going to throw an insane twist your way.
Okay, go ahead.
And tell you why I don't think that's a big deal.
Well, I have one too, but I'll let you go first.
Probably the same thing. Just because these teams were good last year, they're not in the same position now that they were last season when they were this good. And you always see crazy turnover in the standings. Not always, but you do see a lot of crazy turnover in the standings from year to year. One year this team is top, the next they're not. Like, I would almost be more scared if we had an easy schedule, because then it's like, I don't know. We take teams more seriously if they're tougher. We don't take these big three. Their DNA, hopefully it's different under Coach Bud. Their DNA is to sleep through games that are supposedly easy, but show up for the tough games.
I think there's something to that. I'm going to go to the more, I'm just looking at the schedule period and the road trips. I think that even though it's going to be a tough strength of schedule, the best part is that most of these games are going to be on the West Coast, so the travel is not going to be bad. I don't think we hit a East Coast trip until Minneapolis, and that's not even the East Coast. That's just the Midwest, but I'm looking through it. Yeah, most of these games are on the West Coast, and on top of that, in November, after we get back from Minneapolis, not Indianapolis, after we get back from that Timberwolves game, we get 6 straight home games into December. So yes, the strength of schedule is there, but the road trips aren't nearly as bad. There's no East Coast road trips. So that's really kind of the plus there is the furthest you're going to go is Minneapolis, OKC, and then you'll be back on the West Coast. So time clock wise for the players and travel wise, it's not going to be nearly as bad for them. So there's always that plus. And those 6 straight home games at the end of November is definitely a
maybe that's why our schedule is so tough, because it's mostly on the West Coast. It's like the opposite of last year. Remember last year, everything was set up in the beginning for us, and we just kept stepping on rakes over and over. And then it was supposed to clear up towards the end, but by the end, it was just a little too late.
Our first East Coast road trip isn't until December 7th. That'll be our first one. We go play the Pelicans, and then we end up in Miami, Orlando, and then we come right back home. So we don't have a major like East Coast road trip until January, and even then it's a 3-game stretch, and then we go back home. And then we go back to Georgia for the Hawks. And then that will be the biggest one starting in January. Shout out to the NBA for making sure that there wasn't a lot of travel involved in that schedule. Like, honestly.
I want to go back real quick to the Mavs game.
I was about to go right to the Mavs game. That's what I was going to go right back to. I was like, yeah, granted, they gave us that back-to-back that I don't like. But
there's a lot of speculation, obviously, through all of sports about scripts. Is there a script? Oh, he got the script and saw that he's supposed to blow his ACL out, blah, blah, blah. Making the Suns play their now stacked rivals, the Mavs, on the second night of a back-to-back while they get...
After playing your other bitter rival, the Lakers.
After the other bitter rival, you're going to be tired after that game the night before. But giving them 2 days of rest, that's to me as close to scripting as you can get. That's what one of our good friends would call a scheduled loss. They scheduled on purpose. Now the Suns might win that game. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be black-pilled here. I'm just saying that feels like the NBA is trying to give the Suns a dramatic loss from which to come back from.
Okay.
Like some kind of anime.
What more could you have? Kevin Durant on primetime television, and you're gonna have LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and AD and Booker on primetime television. Kawhi, like that's probably why they did it. They want to get your stars on primetime television ASAP. No offense to Luka, but the Mavs aren't looked at as one of those teams, so I could see why they did that early.
Real quick, the Mavs aren't looked at as what kind of team?
Like a team that like has the stars. Like it's just Luka, Kyrie.
No, I mean that might have been maybe was true last year, maybe, but they're coming off of a finals appearance, bro. They're the big dogs in town.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Hey, if that's how you want to look at it, hey, let's look at it that way. You're the hunted now, Dallas. We'll take it.
Exactly.
We have the Nuggets again.
Why they keep doing the Nuggets?
We have the Nuggets again.
3 years in a row.
And we have the Mavericks in between.
Yeah, you're right. It was Mavs. So they're just going.
It was Nuggets. It was Nuggets and the Aaron Gordon dunk on who was that?
Your boy.
What player? My boy. Who did he dunk on? Dunking on Shamet. Like, good Lord, that was just embarrassing. Then we played the Mavs, and then we played the Nuggets again. Yeah, but we got the Nuggets again at home for Christmas. But then after the Nuggets, guess who we have waiting for us? The Mavericks again on that Friday. Like, if we're really going to hit one of those win streaks that we, expect to have, it's going to be in the month of January. Or it has to be. And then maybe we come out and we're gangbusters and we're world beaters and we start off fast and we're just killing it in November, October, and November, which in my opinion is not very likely, but it could happen. But I think that win streak that we always talk about, that 8, 7, 9, 10 game win streak, it's going to come in January. I'm just looking at it right now.
Okay.
A lot of East Conference teams, Hawks, a lot of Hornets, a lot of Wizards. That'll be the time when it happens, is right there in January. I would argue that our group is the toughest.
I think it's the toughest. And of this group, guys, which Suns in-season tournament opponent scares you most? That's what I'm trying to see.
I think the obvious answer everybody's going to pick is OKC, because it's OKC and they were the number 1 seed last year. Is that right?
One or two.
Are
you expecting more wins this season, or the same amount, or less?
I think we could potentially win more than 49 games, because last year a lot of those games were poorly coached and shouldn't have lost some of those games. Like, why are you losing to the Spurs when you shouldn't have lost to the Spurs? And why are they close games? Why are you losing to the Rockets early in the season before the Rockets started to really catch fire? Why are you losing to the Rockets earlier in the season? You know what I mean? Like, just games like that I don't think is going to get through our fingers this year. So I think you can pick up a few of those. So I would aim to say 52, 55, which is only 3 to 4 more games more than 49, but still.
Right. That's not bad. What's our last?
Oh, the last week of games, I'm looking April 6th, Sunday against the Knicks, April 8th against the Warriors at home, April 9th back-to-back, OKC at home. Then we are again at home against the Spurs, and then we wrap up on the road in Sacramento 2 days after that. So that's not a bad schedule.
Not the worst.
You're in New York, you go home, you play the Warriors. Now, that is tough because you're going to play in New York on a Sunday, then you're going to travel all the way back home and play on a Tuesday. Then you got a back-to-back against OKC. So that'll be tough. Then you got 2 days rest, Spurs at home. Then you go to Sacramento and end it. If we need those games, it might be tough. If we're in another situation like we were last year where we need these last 10 games,